So the news is out. Amazon is basically stopping sales. Yes, Amazon has been making changes, especially with everything that's been going on the last few months, but this is one of the most dramatic ones, and I wanted to come here and give you an update of everything what's going on and how you can actually still make this business into your favor, and how you can kind of forego everything that's going on with Amazon and limiting shipments and inventory and such, so you can still continue selling. So I'm actually going to explain the situation. What's this whole IPI 500 score? When is it going to take effect? What should you do to prepare for it? And can you really still sell during Q4 even though all of this is going on? Okay, so let's get into it. Basically, starting August 16th, Amazon has released a statement saying that they're going to be limiting accepting of shipments into their warehouses. So now, of course, this is the prime time to be preparing for Q4. And even if you're not preparing for Q4, which is the busiest season of the year, and that's where all Amazon sellers pretty much see tremendous spikes in everything that they're selling, but even so, it's going to affect you even if you're not preparing for Q4. If you're just going about your business, especially if you have been a little sloppy with your account management, which I know some people can get because Amazon was not really that strict about this. But now they're saying you need to have an IPI of at least 500 in order to be eligible to send large amounts of inventory in. So what's an IPI? It's your inventory performance index, and it's basically based on many different factors, such as the way you replenish your inventory, if you go out of stock, how fast an item is selling, so basically your sales velocity. A lot of factors go into it, but if you're not at least at a 500 score, you can potentially come into disadvantages with only being able to ship in a limited amount of units. Especially this comes to play for new sellers, where they can only ship in 200 units at a time. That's very, very little if you're coming from the perspective of you were taught to order a minimum of 1,000 MOQ, which actually is interesting because the way I teach my students to do it in the private label club, which you can join for $7 at theplclub.com, and also my full course students, 200 is actually a pretty standard and low risk order, which I think is actually a better thing to do than ordering 1,000 MOQ. So let's talk about how to actually improve your IPI if it's lower than 500. Keep in mind, this is not the end of the world. If you are below 500, that doesn't mean you're completely prohibited from selling. Don't be dramatic. The thing we have to do, my friends, is adapt. The first thing I do want to say is you want to dispose of any inventory that's just sitting there. A lot of the times we have emotional connections to our products. Maybe they're slow moving products that are holding up our cash flow, or they're actually even failed products, and we're waiting for that 6-month window before we get started being charged all those crazy Amazon fees for long-term storage. What I suggest you do is actually create removal orders for those units and ship them to your house. I know that you have hopes that it might sell, but if you're really not making a significant return on them, if you're literally making no money, and if the inventory is just sitting in the warehouse, you're going to get hit with the long-term storage fees in 6 months from when the sales velocity slowed down. And especially given these circumstances right now, I really urge you to remove those orders ASAP, ship them to your house. Maybe you can try it again next time. Maybe you can sell them on eBay, but you don't want that clogging up your account because that does decrease your IPI score. And the good thing is Amazon is going, or maybe already has, I'm not sure, I have to double check the date, but they are saying that the removal orders will be free. So instead of being charged 50 cents, they're now free per each unit. The next thing I would suggest is really trying to get your sales velocity up on the products that are actually working. But if you've kind of been a little bit lazy on, let's say, your PPC, now's a good time to really negative exact match those words and play up some other profitable campaigns so you can start seeing those sales. Perhaps you can do full price giveaways and just give them away to people in your niche, of course not requesting for reviews, but just for kind of the purpose of boosting up your sales velocity, right? You can gift it to an influencer or something else just so you can see that spike in sales, and maybe that will actually help your organic sales, so then you can start to rank higher. That will also really help your IPI score. Now, the third one is running out of stock. Now, I used to say that this was not a big deal, and I still do. There's people that teach that this is literally the worst thing that could happen to you, that if you go out of stock, your product is done. I know from personal experience that is not the case, and if your product is doing well and if you're not out of stock for a tremendous period of time, it's really not going to be a big deal. Your product will bounce up. However, there is a big difference during this time right now, because it does affect your IPI. Amazon checks how many units you have, and based on your sales history, how many days you can still sell that product until you run out of stock, and that actually affects your IPI as well. So if you can keep your items in stock for a good amount of time, then that will also improve your IPI. So during this time, I really would strongly recommend you not trying to stay out of stock. You know, everyone's situation is different, but if you can order your products sooner rather than later to restock them before they go out of stock and also have that cushion window, right now would be the best time to do it, especially if you know your product is already selling well. Just invest that upfront money just so you can increase your index. Another thing I really suggest is these very slow moving products. I touched on them earlier, but I really want you to kind of reconsider the pros and cons and the risk versus reward, right? Say you have a product that is making one sale every few days and it's not really bringing you back an ROI. You're not making significant or any money at all. Maybe you're even breaking even or making a few dollars every other day, but the reason you have it is for brand building, right? Well, I would suggest that right now would be a really good time to actually kill those products, just because the slow moving velocity of them does slow down your whole account, and that can negatively affect your IPI. So my friends, you have a month to do this. I think that's plenty of time. Perhaps this would also be a good time to launch some kind of smaller products that have higher velocity, so you can increase your IPI. Maybe if it's favorable, a very short lead time product. These are the best right now, because you know you can still minimize the risk by sending in products. For example, you start to see that they're selling fast, you can order them fast, they can ship to you fast. That's kind of the best case scenario. So unfortunately, not all of us have that opportunity or have a product like that, but if you do, this would be a great time to use it. On top of not running out of stock, Amazon also gives you suggestions of how many units you should have in your account for that product. So I would check what their suggestion is and ship in that amount. That's going to be kind of the limiting factor. If your score is not over 500, they will only let you send that amount in, but check in advance, because if you send in enough units right now, that could also improve your IPI, since it's going to show that you have enough in stock to keep these selling. Again, think about this. Amazon also wants to make the most money, so obviously they're going to be favoring sellers that are moving high velocity sales. They don't want to take a risk with their Amazon warehouse being completely backed up and stocked up with items that are not going to be moving, because they're short staffed with everything that's going on. They're backed up, and again, essential items are still kind of a priority during this time. So they do really favor those fast moving sellers. So you want to kind of let them know by the units you send in that you can keep your stock there. Now you're asking, what about me? I'm a new seller. I had this plan to launch a product in Q4, and now my IPI is below 500 and I can only send in 200 units at a time. And I don't mean sending them in multiple shipments. I mean, you're only allowed to have 200 units of that product in the Amazon warehouse at one time. So what's the solution for that, right? Say your lead time is 2 weeks, but your item is sea freight, right? So that's an additional 22 to even 45 at the longest days. So what's the solution, right? There's two solutions. There is third-party warehouses where you can ship it to them, and then when you let them know whenever, they will ship those units to Amazon. or you can ship them directly to your house. And that's actually probably what I recommend. The third-party warehouses can be a little bit expensive, not necessarily expensive, but it's another unnecessary cost. If you ship it to your house, you obviously don't have to pay yourself storage fees or anything like that. So you ship it in here and you wait until you are running out of stock or you're getting close to there, and you can ship them to Amazon. Amazon partners with carriers and they can actually ship your items in for a very, very inexpensive rate, and it will be very inexpensive. So that's something I would recommend for a new time seller. Again, this really is not game over at all. It's people are still kind of panicking. They think that I can't sell on Amazon now, I'm not going to be successful, but that's not true. We just have to know how to kind of overgo these obstacles. If you can't get your IPI up to that 500 in the next month, and I would really try this out, try all the tips I've mentioned, do know that you have the option to order, let's say 1,000 units. If you know your product is getting traction, send them to your house, and when the time is right, just send them from your house to Amazon at a discounted rate. So I really hope this video was helpful. Do hit the like button if it was, hit the down button if it was not, and let me know if you're going to be implementing any of this or if you've seen it affect your business in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for a lot of value, and join my private label club for $7 at theplclub.com to learn exactly how I find low investment, low risk products in non-competitive markets. I will see you in the next video.